Well, today I'm taking a look at the 2018 Enclave from Buick. This is a full-size three-row crossover vehicle that's been pretty heavily redesigned for the 2018 model year. What's changed exactly? Well, on the exterior, it's swoopier, more stylish, more contemporary looking. I think it works quite well, especially in this top flight Avenir trim, which includes 20-inch wheels. On the inside, this was a weakness of the outgoing model, and they've hit a home run. It's stylish, it is very modern, great use of materials, and most of all, it's comfortable, which is what you expect in a Buick. Mechanically speaking, for 2018, we've got a stop-start function, and we've also got a gem of a transmission, a new 9-speed from GM, and those things both help a lot with fuel economy. So today we're going to take this Enclave out on the road for a drive, but as usual, we'll start inside and take a look at this refreshed interior. The cabin of the Enclave is modern and sleek with a swooping dashboard and nicely integrated head unit. Materials are nice, especially in this top flight Avenir model, which includes a two-tone leather look, real mahogany trim, and sumptuous heated and cooled seats. Nice features like an inductive charging pad, tri-zone climate control, and a combination digital and analog gauge cluster make this a very livable place. Standard safety tech includes a rear cross traffic alert system, a backup camera, lane change alert, and lane departure warning systems. And the Avenir trim adds lane keeping assist, pedestrian detection, forward collision alert, low-speed automatic braking, and dynamic cruise control. The second row features reclining and fore and aft adjustments, heated seats, and lots of room for adults. The third row isn't exactly cavernous, but children won't have a problem at all, nor should adults for short distances. All right, so as I said off the top of this video, we're dealing with a full-size premium three-row crossover vehicle. Now this year, the second row is offered with captain's chairs only, so if you've got more than 7 passengers, well, you'll have to look elsewhere. This is a big car, 4,400 pounds, which is a little bit down on weight relative to the outgoing model. And it's powered by a 3.6-liter naturally aspirated V6 engine with 310 horsepower, 266 foot-pounds of torque. And that's down a couple of foot-pounds of torque this year, but it's up 22 horsepower. And I have to say, very smooth power delivery, more than adequate. It gets up and goes pretty well, and it's capable of towing about 5,000 pounds of stuff. So by no means is that category leading. That's more than enough to tow a small boat, a couple of ATVs, some snowmobiles, which is more than most people are ever going to need. Now the big deal for this year is a brand new 9-speed automatic transmission, which I have to say is a complete joy to work with. 9 speeds means more gears to work with, that's kind of obvious, but what it really means is it can get into that meaty bit of the power curve with ease. And this particular transmission does it with almost imperceptible shifts. It's so smooth and it works really well with this power plant to get this car moving pretty quickly. One complaint from the outgoing Enclave was always fuel economy, which was mediocre at best. That has been dealt with on the 2018. Obviously, that's a downstream positive effect of that new 9-speed transmission, which gets up into the gears and down in the rev range as quickly as possible. But also, we've got a standard stop-start feature on the engine now. 2 notes about that. Obviously, the first one being it does improve your fuel economy by shutting the engine off to avoid an idle situation at long stoplights. But it also does so smoothly, it's imperceptible again, which is really amazing thing in a vehicle like this, and probably the best that I've experienced to date. So what are the real world fuel economy results? Well, I've been averaging for the past 6 days, I've done 224 kilometers, and I want to say about 60-40 city to highway. And when I say city, I mean like bad downtown Toronto city. And I'm averaging 15.9 liters per 100 kilometers. So that's not a breathtaking by any means, but it's a big improvement over the outgoing model and pretty good given this is a full-size vehicle weighing 4,400 pounds. This Buick is super comfortable and serene on the highway. There's not a lot of noise. It's very, very quiet. Part of that is down to Buick's active sound cancellation feature on the cabin of this thing, but also at a mechanical level, it just seems really well insulated, really just a sense of solidity to it. When you open and close the doors, it's a nice firm thunk sound, which is always nice. A little bit of wind noise up along the A-pillar and near the side mirrors, but in terms of road noise, very well controlled, not a lot of tire noise. I just drove over some really nasty pavement, and even on these 20-inch wheels, it does a good job of soaking that up. So just quiet and serene. If you were to be blindfolded and dropped into this car at 100, 120 kilometers per hour like I am now, you'd have no problem thinking we were in a $70,000, $80,000 luxury car. So while I'm stuck in a typical Toronto traffic jam, why don't I talk a little bit about a couple of the cool features on the interior of this car. And I'm going to start with the trick rear view mirror. Like a lot of other GM products, the Cadillac Escalade for one, this mirror operates as your standard reflective rear view mirror. However, at the flip of a button, you can have a widescreen video. Now that is a little bit unusual at first. This is my first time ever using this type of rear view mirror, and it was a little distracting, a little unnerving for the first couple of minutes, but I have to say, after maybe 10 minutes of using it, I definitely got used to it, and I have to say, it gives you a much wider field of vision, and I think that's better for safety, especially when you're backing up out of narrow alleyways or driveways or in your parking garage and so on. Well, this is a big vehicle, 4,400 pounds, and it certainly doesn't hide that mass. It drives like a bigger vehicle, but I will say I'm impressed at how well controlled it is. And what do I mean by control? Well, there's an adaptive damping system which does this amazing thing where it adjusts the suspension automatically without your input to make sure that it's in the ideal settings at all time. It also has a 5-link independent rear suspension. So when I say control, I mean that it deals with bumps in the road very, very well, even when loaded down. When you get it into the corners, even though it's a bit of a top-heavy vehicle, it manages that body roll. Steering's not sharp, but it is direct. I think it's class competitive, not a sporty car, definitely more of a luxurious ride, but on that note, I think for most buyers, it's really going to hit the mark. In general, I find the ride of this Enclave very quiet, very comfortable. I like the seats. However, even though this is a big car, as a tall driver, I have that classic issue where my right knee is bumping up against the transmission tunnel and the dashboard. And that's because I believe there's insufficient adjustability in the telescoping function. You can move it up, you can move it in and out. However, I need a couple more inches. So the result is that I've got to keep my seat a little bit closer, and I'm hitting my right knee off this very stylized dashboard. This Enclave also has dual sunroofs, so 2 separate sunroofs, front and rear. One thing I'm not a big fan of is it only has manual operating sunshades. And yes, I know, first world problem, but the vehicle that I'm driving in right now is more than $60,000. And for that, and in most other vehicles at that price range, you get an automatic electric sunshade. Another thing I want this Enclave to have is a heads-up display. I keep looking down there expecting there to be a heads-up display, and there isn't. Now, again, another first-world problem here, but when you start to talk $50,000, $60,000, like we are with this top-flight Avenir model, well, it's available in other cars in this segment, and I kind of wish it was available at least as an option here. Now, a quick note on this transmission, you'll find that it's equipped with a shift lever that's very similar to the ones you'll see in Jaguar products or BMW products, in that it's an electronic nub sticking out of the center console rather than a gated lever. And people have complained a lot about this. I've read this all over the place. I've seen some other videos where people don't like the fact that you've got to go up and to the left to get into reverse. And I have to say, I don't understand that complaint. You get used to that in a matter of days. It's really not that problematic. Buick calls the base Enclave the Essence trim, and it starts at $47,900 but comes in front-wheel drive only. Selectable all-wheel drive is another $3,000. Premium trim is listed at $55,900 and adds all-wheel drive, ventilated front seats, an improved Bose sound system, and a suite of advanced safety features. Top-of-the-range Avenir models start at $61,900, and after adding on real-time damping suspension, adaptive cruise control, a heavy-duty tow package, roof racks, and a few other niceties, my optioned-up demonstration model tipped the scales at more than $67,000, including destination and freight. Buick's done a great job bringing this Enclave into 2018 with some really nice tech features. We've got a great head unit, very intuitive to use. An excellent sound system is available. And we've also got that nice 4G LTE connection. That's a great thing if you have a couple of backseat drivers. Mechanically speaking, the new 9-speed transmission is a gem. It works really well. It shifts almost imperceptibly when combined with this over 300 horsepower V6 engine. It's very smooth, reliable power delivery. The exterior changes, well, beauty's in the eye of the beholder. I think it's an improvement over the outgoing model, as is the interior. That's a nice place to spend a few hours if you have to. Good mix of materials, especially on this top flight Avenir trim. So this Buick really is a compelling mix of ingredients. I don't know if it's going to get younger buyers into the Buick brand, but there's no denying that it's a really good vehicle. If you're in the market for a full-size 3-row crossover, do yourself a favor and check this out. For Motormouth Canada, my name is Mike Gurr. Thanks for watching.